Hey, TechnoStuds! One thing to watch out for is if you misconfigure EtherChannels, you can create a loop on your network. So let's take a look at what that loop looks like. Let's take a look at a scenario here where if we misconfigure EtherChannels, we would create a loop. So here we've got our layout here of what we've been setting up, and we've set these up as EtherChannels. So we've got bandwidth between these different switches. We've increased the bandwidth. And on this side, let's say we misconfigured, or we configured it correctly on this switch side. So that is set up as an EtherChannel. But on this side, we missed some steps, and now they're set up as individual ports. Now, what a broadcast happens is when a broadcast comes into a switch, it gets forwarded out all the other ports except for the port that it came in on. So let's say there is a broadcast that gets sent out from this device right here. It's going to be, since this is an ether channel right here, it's going to be just sent down one connection right here. It's not going to be sent out both because they're ether channel. It's going to get received on this switch, and this switch is going to see that it comes in on this port, but then it's going to think that it needs to be sent out of all other ports to include this port right here and get sent back. So now we've created half of the loop right here. Now this in itself has not created the full loop, because what it's going to do, this device is not going to forward it back out this port because it came in on this ether channel group, so it won't forward it back out on one of those. But if there's a misconfiguration somewhere else on the network, now we've got a full loop that's going to happen, and we can create the broadcast storms that way. Now what we would like to see is spanning tree protocol to take effect and be able to mitigate this issue. But that's not always the case. And let's look at an example here. Let's say this is our root bridge right here. And so these are always going to be designated ports right here. And if something were to be shut down, it would be one of these ports down here that would be shut down. However, in this scenario right here, we've created an ether channel on this side, so neither of those ports are going to be shut down, and therefore spanning tree protocol can't actually work in this scenario. So this is all to say that make sure that when you're configuring ether channels that you're doing it correctly so you're not creating these loops.